I've got a new palette from Smashbox to share with you guys today. It's the Smashbox Photo Matte Eyes Shadow Liner and Brow Powder Palette. So it's fairly versatile, saying there's colors for your brows, liner, and then also for your eyeshadow, and everything in this palette is matte. There are 14 shades in here, 2 of which, the larger matte shades, are about twice the size of the other ones, and according to the packaging, there's 0.49 ounces total. It doesn't break it down pan-wise, but I've figured roughly 0.03 ounces per smaller eyeshadow, and then 0.04 ounces for the larger ones, roughly. So about mid-size eyeshadows. And then inside of the box, it does come with the Smashbox Shape Matter Eyes step-by-step guide in there. And I did do a demo with these eyeshadows, which is the look that's on my face right now. I totally spaced out using them for the brows, but there is a color in there that I think would suit several different brow tones. So I was like, oh, I should have did my brows. I'll get up close and give you guys swatches and all of that too in a minute. But there's a diagram with the names of the eyeshadows that are inside. And then you open it up and there's a mirror. It does not prop itself open. It's kind of like that. And then it magnetizes shut. And there is a double-ended brush inside, which is fully functional, synthetic. It's got a kind of a fluffy shader that's a little pinched. And then a eyeliner brow brush on the other end inside of there. This is the 3rd time that I have used this palette. And I've loved it the first 2 times I used it. Today I had a little bit of trouble blending, and for some reason, and I don't know why, I decided to put my brow bone color down first over the primer, kind of like setting the powder, putting like a base shadow down, which I know better than to do that because I have dry lids and color doesn't blend into an already set type shadow over primer. Like for me, it doesn't work that way for me, unfortunately. So I should have, you know, did crease, transition, and then blended out my eyebrow. With my Makeup Forever eyeshadows, I can do that because they build and blend so effortlessly, and I kind of thought that about this one the first 2 times that I used it, because I had done lid, crease, transition, and then underneath the brow, and everything worked out great. But today I had a little bit of trouble because I put that brow bone shade down first. So if you have really dry lids, you might have a little bit of trouble blending some of these shadows depending on how you lay them down over a base or what base you use. So I do think the blending is nice and they do build, but they're not as nice as some shadows out there. Now they do have pigmentation and they go on really nice. I like got no fallout at all using these, which is great considering that they're all matte shades. And then as well as being all matte, I didn't get a ton of product kick up when I put my brush in there. They're not like super powdery or anything like that. The texture of them is really nice. And then another thing that's great about this palette is the selection of shades. You've got super dark, you've got warm, you've got cool, you've got highlight, you've got several different transition shades in here. I think it'd be a great pairing palette for something like maybe Natasha Denona 28, those really shiny shadows. This would pair great with that. So I did have a little trouble blending today, however I was able to buff it out, but the first 2 times I used it in my normal procedure, they blended great and no fallout. So I'm going to go ahead and zoom in and give you guys some swatches. So here's the palette up close, and then here is the little diagram with the shade names on here, if this guy will focus. I'll try to read them off too. And then you've got a mirror in there, and then here are your shades. So I'll go ahead and read them off. I'm not sure if these shades are in some other palettes or not. I guess I didn't think to look, but you've got Desert, Heirloom, Dune, Vanilla, Wheat, Grounded, Rosehip, Haze, and then Earthy, Suede, Canyon, Jolt, Ditch, and Blackout. So like just a really good array of shades. For my brows, I should have used this guy right here. We'll start on the kind of the warmer side of things over here. These 2 shades. And then these next 2. There's the warm half. Just a great array of depth, lightness, and transition, I think, in this palette. There could have been a matte white. That's the only thing. I thought there could have been a matte white or a really light cream color. But anyway. Then I'll do these center colors, which I had used this one almost every single time that I used the palette because that's the lightest shade in the bunch. And I had used that underneath the brow. Now we'll start in on this a little bit cooler side. And then the very last two. These do have a nice soft texture as well without being super crumbly or powdery. Very black indeed. So there is the more cool half of the palette. I'll give you guys another look at the shades. And I feel like if I'm going to travel and I'm going to pack a little bit lighter in the makeup area, like, yeah, right, but still, if I were going to, this would be a palette to grab instead of one of them large Z palettes with all my Makeup Forever eyeshadows. Granted, those are like some of my faves, but it's a lot larger palette. And these do work really nice. I just should have never threw down that brow bone shade first. I should have did my transition like I usually do. Now, if you're interested in the demo and seeing how these eyeshadows kind of performed for me today, you can hang tight and we'll get into it right now. I already primed my lids from the lash line 2 up underneath the brow with the NYX eyeshadow base in ESB01. Everything will be listed down below. And the first two shadows I'm going to use aren't from the palette because I don't want to, I feel like a little bit of sparkle somewhere in there, and most of the blending's from the crease upwards anyway. So I'm going to go in with NARS's Stud eyeshadow right there on a Goss number 18 brush, which is just a flat shader. And I'm going to pack that over the majority of the lid. Then using the side of that same brush, I'm going to go into another NARS eyeshadow. This is the shade Mortal, and I'm just going to put a bit of this right here. Kind of blend it into the Stud shade. Then using a Chikuhodo GSN 9, I'm going to go into this brown color, which is called Canyon. I'm going to put that one in the crease. That's just dipping into that shadow one time. That's pretty good. Then using a Goss number 3 brush, I'm going to go into this shade right here, which is called Vanilla. I'm going to put that underneath the brow bone and kind of where that primer's at. Just leaving a tiny, tiny gap in between the two colors. Then using a Chikuhodo 5523 brush, I'm going to go into this color right here, which is called Dune. And I'm going to start blending out the crease and fading it up into that highlight. Go ahead and take that highlight brush and blend this upper portion. And then I'm going to go into another color here. On a Goss 19 brush, I'm going to go into this shade, which is called Suede. And I'm going to further blend out that crease. I'm going to line my lips and kind of bring it in a little bit with the Charlotte Tilbury Lip Cheat in the shade Pillow Talk. And then to fill them in, I've got one of my all-time faves, which is the Smashbox B Legendary Lipstick in the shade Pout. I'm just going to fill them in and kind of really mush it into that lip liner. The hair, though, is just out of control. So there's the overall look using the Smashbox Photo Matte Eyes palette. I hope you guys enjoyed this video and found it helpful. Thank you for watching. Do not forget to wear sunscreen, and I'll see you guys later. Bye.